Hey, what's going on, guys? Battle Nations Emperor here, back today with another video. And today we'll be covering something that won't pertain to the new Battle Nations, but something that was very important to the old game. We'll get into this momentarily, but this is something that is confirmed to not be coming back. But it was, again, a very integral part of the initial Battle Nations, especially its ending. A lot of people have a lot of strong feelings about it. Some people love it, some people hate it. And that is, of course, the Secret Vaults. Now, the Secret Vaults had a very convoluted history. They did a lot of good things for the game. They did a lot of bad things for the game. However, overall, I would definitely say it's a good thing they've been confirmed to not be coming back. But let's jump right into the meat of these bad boys, the facts. And right here we can see on my little presentation right here, they were a limited edition event in the old Battle Nations, as I previously mentioned, and what they allowed you to do is obtain previous limited edition units. So units that were previously limited edition that you could only get through limited edition events, whether that be a weekend or only a week or maybe even a month, like through a boss strike, you now had a chance to basically just buy a loot box and hopefully get what you wanted. To give you an idea of what the adverts would look like, this was the advertisement for the very first Secret Vault. As you can see, it was based on level. The lower levels could have a chance from 10 to 19 to get a tamed boar monarch. That was the strongest boar in the game. It's an adult one. You can get just like pretty much every other animal. You could get babies, you could get teenagers, but all of the adult animals were limited edition. So this was a lot of players' first chance to get an adult animal. And fun fact, in my initial video, I talked about my 3 adult sandworms that I adored so much and loved. I got them from this limited edition event, the Secret Vault. Those sandworms right there were my pride and joy of my Battle Nations experience. So definitely a lot to unpack here, but that's the gist of it. It cost, at the beginning, it cost 180 nanopods for 3 chances, or you could pay 600 nanopods to get 10 and then an additional one free. So realistically, just 11. So a slight free, advantage there, since, it is 60 per chance, but if you are willing to pay enough nanopods, 600, to get 10 up front, you do get an additional 1 for free. So that is fair. And then you would get presented with the screen that looked like this with all of these different cards, and depending on what Secret Vault you were playing, there was a total of 15 of them, you had a chance of winning anything from a legendary mammoth to a legendary raptor to an ACR unit to a mammoth tank to anything else, of course depending on your level and what the Secret Vault was of that time. So like I just mentioned, there were a total of 15 Secret Vaults, the first one starting in 2015, right before the buyout by King of Z2. The first 1 through 4 Secret Vaults all had different jackpots for their top. So as you can see right here, each one of these is a different jackpot. However, starting with, I believe it was number 4, it was number 5. Starting with Secret Vault number 5, this bad boy over here, this was the last one, they would then change it to where everybody had the exact same jackpot. So this is an example. This is the second to last Secret Vault, where the Ancient Century was the jackpot for everybody. Everybody had a chance to get in the Ancient Century, and this was the very last Secret Vault. This was Secret Vault number 15, and at this one, everybody had a chance of getting a nomadic elemental raider. So again, a massive history here, a massive event for the community. A lot of pros, a lot of cons. Let's jump into them real quick. Starting, of course, off with the pros. We'll start off with the nice things. So what were the pros of the Secret Vault? Well, for one, it gave everybody a chance to get previously unattainable units. Like, for example, with the very first one right over here, it was literally impossible to get adult animals. So if you wanted an adult sandworm or a tamed adult boar monarch, which I mean boar monarch, basically just an adult boar, you could not get them. The highest you could get was a teenage boar and a teenage sandworm, which, were stronger than the younglings, but they were just ever so slightly stronger. So if you wanted, the very strong, adult boars you fight, in Boar Valley, or a very strong adult sandworm that you have to deal with all the time, the only way to get it was through the first event where they allowed you to get these adult animals, which was, I believe, in the very start of Battle Nations, like back in 2012, very early on, or you could get them through some of these secret vaults. So for people who had never had the chance to get these limited edition units, it was a very big and honestly grateful opportunity to be able to pick up some of these units. So that would definitely be the start of the benefit. Secondly, it generated Z2 a lot of money, which I know this sounds like a joke, but the very first secret vault back in 2014, this one right here, it did actually uptick Z2's revenue and help them keep going for another year before being bought out by King. So it did genuinely serve a purpose within the Battle Nations community. It helped fund the developers and keep them going on with Battle Nations for another year before being bought out. And of course, once Z2 bought them out, once King bought Z2 out, they didn't immediately shut everything down. They would wait a little bit longer, and then that would proceed. So that was genuinely a good thing. It did help produce money for Z2 to keep the game and not just Battle Nations, but all Z2 games going a little bit longer. So it was there, and it was beneficial for them. And then finally, it was genuinely exciting to play the vault. I mean, it was in-game gambling to an extent. That's the biggest reason it will definitely not be coming back, as the new developers have already crossed that out. But it genuinely was a very fun, very enjoyable experience. So that's the benefits. Let's get into some of the cons. So first things first, it is a loot box through and through. The very first secret vault was in February of 2014. The loot box fiasco scandal would hit its peak in 2017 when Battlefront 2 did it with their game, and several media outlets would pick up on the story and would become a huge scandal, a national scandal, and eventually various European countries and a few other East Asian companies would literally put gambling restriction on these, because from their perspective it was literally gambling in video games. You paid real life money for a chance to get something extremely rare, which in most reality, you got just something bad. Now, looking back at secret vaults, thankfully they came out they came out right before the heat. But I mean, look at this. I mean, even the card flipping, this looks like, a casino game. So by all means, this was certainly a loot box. I don't think anybody would really try to argue that. But to Z2's grace, Battle Nation's grace, what they were able to fix is they got way ahead of the curve. They got 3 years ahead of all of the loot box drama. So they were able to do it and pretty much get away with it. I, as a teenager, as a kid, remember spending all of my money on iTunes gift cards just to get a chance at, one more jackpot. And, I thought that as a kid that was normal. But looking back on it, you could argue that, they were, grooming me to get into a gambling addiction. And of course, I'm not actually making that exaggeration. I'm just being, this is just hyperbole. But it is the argument that various lawmakers and, senators would make for European countries and various different East Asian countries when they would go to ban these things. So I have no doubt if loot boxes had, if Battle Nations had survived past 2016 and they kept going with loot boxes, it would have caused some issue for Z2 and they would have had to make a stop at some point. So this is why we can be extremely confident Madrona Games won't do this. I had a screenshot somewhere. I unfortunately cannot find it, but if you go to Madrona Games, you can find it yourself if you like. If you go to Madrona Games website, they have a Q&A for Battle Nations, and one of the questions is, will there be microtransactions? And they do confirm they will be doing transactions. Obviously, they need to make money somehow, completely understandable, but they have already ruled out that they are not currently considering or have any plans of a loot box system. And well, as we've discussed, the Secret Vault is a loot box system through and through. So it would be very shocking to see Maruna Games bring them back just for the legal troubles, just for saying they wouldn't do a loot box. So I can say genuinely with about 95% confidence that Secret Vaults are a thing of the past. That's why I confidently say they were a thing of the past earlier in this video. And again, I feel comfortable standing beside that for now, as the current position of lawmakers on loot boxes and Madrona's Games opinion on loot boxes as it currently stands. So keep going into the cons. They had massive disproportionate payouts. It was far better to play the Secret Vault later on and try to get actually good, legendary units, artillery tank, genuinely higher up units when they were still doing it based on level. Like right here, for example, if you were level 10 through 19, the best you can get is Adult Sandsworn. If you're 45 plus, you can get a Blood Ninja. So it just wouldn't make sense to spend a whole lot of money between level 10, 19, heck, even through levels 20 through 29, because that's only, adult boar. So there was a huge argument to be made that it was very disproportionate and arguably had a favor towards higher up players because they were getting the better limited edition units. Again, extremely overpriced compared to the units it gave you. A lot of these units were super cheap on their initial lease, and to basically get them through the Secret Vault, you were paying a premium. Fourthly, it absolutely destroyed the credibility of limited edition units. A lot of people who, of course, had these limited edition units beforehand, they felt very upset, rightfully so, seeing as that they were promised these limited edition units were just that, limited edition, would never be coming back. And then from their perspective, they all of a sudden do. It's, kind of insulting to the player base. And finally, it became very repetitive very quickly. Guys, we had, sorry about that. We had a total of 15, the last one being the Nomad right here, and all of them kind of functioned the same process. You either bought 1 or 10, after, once they allowed 10, or at the beginning it was 3 or 10, and you flip some cards, and you either get the unit you want, or you get trash. You either waste nanopods, or you get what you want. So it became very repetitive early, after, I'd say after Vault 5. That's why they had to reduce it down to 1, because at some point it went from, oh wow, limited edition units, to, oh, another Secret Vault. Let's see if it's anything good. Nope. And that basically became it. So overall, in conclusion, very glad to see Madrona Games moving past this. It's by all means a loot box. I don't think you can argue it any other way. I'm very glad to see that they are moving past it, that laws are moving past it, because it was genuinely gambling in video games. But I got to admit, I have a very soft spot for it. I look back with it in fondness, and if I could go back and stop myself, I wouldn't. I still want my 3 adult sandworms. And that will just about do it for us today, guys. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you would like to see a specific Battle Nations related content in the future, please comment it down below. Like the video down below if you enjoyed today's video, and please consider subscribing to the channel if you are new. And that will truly do it for today, guys. Thank you very much for watching, and as always, have a great rest of your day.